What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, and welcome back to another episode of the SPUR-SPECTIVE, where we take a look at the weekend's games and we put a Spurs spin on it, give a bit of review of the game, and obviously we've got our scores as well. Me and my brother's going through a competition. The season is nearly coming upon us, so the scores really matter now. The scores are 73 to Sim, 78 to me.
What's more likely, I'll overtake you or Spurs get top four?
You overtake me. I think you overtake me, to be fair. But the way the scoring works is 1 point for a correct result, 5 points for a correct scoreline. And let's get straight into the review and start off with the Fulham-Wolves game, which finished 1-0 to Wolves, and both of us went 1-0 to Fulham.
Yeah, it was a tight game. Another one shrouded in controversy with that VAR call.
It seems like every game at the moment.
I know, but that was one. I think this was a weekend of extremely tight calls, and that was one of the tightest. Yeah, and there was I can't remember another, but there was one yesterday, West Brom. But we'll get into that. Another extremely tight call, and another one where you look at it and you're thinking, where the hell the game's going? But in terms of the actual football, good win for Wolves, solid win. Last minute winner from Troy was a killer for Fulham. But, Fulham have picked a really bad time to go back into awful form, and 4 losses in a row now for Fulham. And again, you look at the games and, they're all tight, losing 1-0 and 2-1 to Leeds and here, there. But where they are in the moment, they need to get the points on the board with 7 games left, and they're looking increasingly likely. Now, I thought they were a shoo-in to stay up, but now I'm not so sure. Even West Brom might have a better chance at this point.
West Brom might finish above Fulham at this rate.
Only 2 points behind them now. And Newcastle come into some bit of form. Yeah,
I mean, at the business end of the season, this is not the form you want to be on. And like Newcastle, like you said, last couple of games have got some results. So, look, it's going to be I think Fulham just need to stay within 3 points of Newcastle going into that last game of the season, because I think they'll fancy their chances.
Yeah, right now it's 6 points and Newcastle have a game in hand.
Yeah.
So they need a big turnaround. There will be opportunities for sure that Newcastle aren't going to go unbeaten or anything like that from now to the end of the season, but they need to be able they need to get back on form, because they had a really good run midway through the season after an awful start, and everyone thought, they're playing well, they're going to stay up. But 4 losses in a row is very, very detrimental. And, would you still want Parker if they get relegated?
I'm not sure, because I actually think Parker is a good manager, and I think he would do a lot better with better players. I know you've been saying all season that Fulham got a really good squad there, and they should be staying up with the quality that they have. But I'm not so sure that's true. I mean, they were in the Championship last year. Yeah, they signed a few good players, and they got a few good loan deals as well. But I still think that they are where they should be, kind of thing.
I like that. I've said before, I do like, especially their defensive players. I really like, and I think they should. I think they have a better squad than Newcastle. I really do.
I'm not so convinced that they've got such a better squad than Newcastle. I'm just not convinced. I think they're better than kind of Sheffield United and West Brom, but I think it's touch and go.
I think they're better than Burnley. I think they've got a better squad than Burnley.
Look, I'm just not so sure about it. But look, let's move on anyway. We've got Man City Leeds, shock of the weekend.
Wow, what a game, yeah.
2-1 to Leeds at the Etihad. I went 2-0, you went 3-0. But Leeds, I mean, wow.
What a performance with 10 men as well.
Yeah.
To do it with 10 men after Cooper getting sent off just before half-time makes it all the more impressive.
It was
0-0 No, it was 1-0 Leeds, I believe.
Oh, it was 1... Was it?
Yeah, the red card, it was 1-0 Leeds. And then
they got it back.
And then, City scored, I think, 15 minutes to go or 20 minutes to go they scored. And then Fulham, Leeds got the literally last-minute winner, Stuart Dallas.
Dallas. Stuart Dallas, man, I had him in my fantasy team, and I was like, they're playing Man City, what's the point of putting him in the starting 11? I put him as my third choice sub, and he gets bloody 2 goals. And 2 of my subs come on. 2 of my subs come on.
But look, you got to say very, very impressive from Leeds to get that win. Not everyone would have said they would have lost that game, and you got to say they deserved it as well. It was really, really impressive. And Bielsa was saying after the game how they don't really practice like backs against the wall kind of stuff when there were 10 men and these kind of things, even against Man City. But it seemed to pay off this time. He said maybe he should start coaching a more defensive style, because that's what got them the points.
Yeah.
I think they had 2 shots the whole game, and Man City had about 25, 30 shots. And there you go. Leeds with a bit of shithousery getting the win. I don't think it will affect anything in terms of where the league is going. I think, although with Man United's win against us, they're now They're now 11 points behind with the game in hand, so it doesn't really open it up. But yeah, it doesn't really open it up. But but Leeds.
But you never know. One more loss in there, or a couple more losses from Man City,
and then you never know. You never know. They are fighting on four fronts. So
Liverpool lost the league over 5 points clear with 2 games to go once.
No, I think it was 5 points with 3 games to go.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it could easily be that.
Yeah. They would need City to drop a few more points, but Leeds going
what did you
level.
Say? It's 9 points.
No, 11 with 11. United have a game in hand.
Right.
Arsenal. Leeds now level 1 points of Arsenal though, so pushing. They're not even that far behind us. Leeds 4 points, so. They could even be pushing top 7 if they keep their full form going.
Yeah, you know what with Leeds though, they're so inconsistent. You just don't know what Leeds are going to turn up one week.
It just goes to show that because their goal difference is 0.
Yeah,
like literally they've got 49 goals conceded for. They're literally as bad going defending as they are good going forward. It's pretty crazy. It's literally that.
But I think that's what everyone's been saying all season. Like their defense is shocking, but attack is really good.
And so it's proved they don't really draw as well. But look,
that Rafinha, what a player, man!
Great, yeah, he's a fantastic player, and I wouldn't mind him at Spurs at all. But look, great win. One of the shocks of the season, but probably too little too late to affect the title race.
Yeah. Let's move on to Liverpool against Aston Villa, which finished 2-1 to Liverpool. I went 1-1, you went 1-1. Again, absolutely wrong. The first.
Well, we were not absolutely
not
wrong.
absolutely. I mean, Liverpool.
90th minute win.
Yeah, I know. Liverpool got that 90th minute, but we still got it wrong at the end of the game.
Yeah, we got it wrong, but it was very, very close to both getting 5 points. But great goal from Trent in the 90th minute to get the win for Liverpool. Watching the game, Villa will be ruining some real big chances they had to kill the game off at 1-0 and at 1-1. They had chances to win. They didn't. They missed it. But look, Liverpool getting back to winning ways at home. First win at Anfield since before Christmas, and which is really long stretch, but they're picking a good time to come back into form. Their away form was already turned around, and they've won, I think, last 3 on the trot away from home.
I don't even think they played that well against Villa.
They didn't. No, they didn't.
I thought Trent was awful.
They got lucky to get the last minute winner, but you got to say they did keep going until the 90th minute, and they did get that goal just before half time. Another really tight VAR call, which just went against Liverpool, really tight as well. And they were like zooming on Matt Cash to see if he touched it, and then he didn't touch it. And then they were looking at it to see where the line was, and the lines were literally touching. But another one which just went against Liverpool, but. And they kept going. They didn't let it affect them, and they ended up turning it around.
Yeah, it reminded me a bit of like when they were at their pomp last year, but they didn't have a good game, but they just always got over the line.
Yeah,
it just reminded me
a
bit
few last
of that.
minute winners.
Yeah.
And it was a great finish by Trent. You might got to say that.
Yeah, it was.
Great finish from 25 yards.
The thing is that clouded over his game because I thought he was shocking defensively, Trent.
Yeah, he did. He got caught out a few times. And also, got to say, Alisson on another poor mistake for Watkins' goal. He should be stopping that.
No one talks about it because it didn't cost them any points.
Yeah, exactly. But, Liverpool with the win. And now they're above us, 3 points above us, and they're right in it with the race. They're back in the race for top 4. They're really in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Which is another bad timing for Spurs.
All right, let's move on to Chelsea against Palace at Selhurst Park. Finished 4-1 to Chelsea. Both of us getting points on the board at last this weekend. I went 1-0 Chelsea. You went 2-1 Chelsea, but it did finish 4-1 to Chelsea. And kind of they responded to that heavy defeat to West Brom really well, didn't they?
Yeah. They did, and well deserved as well. You got to say they definitely wanted a reaction after that horrible defeat at home to West Brom, and I think they had that. They went 3-0. I think before half time potentially, or just up. I think it was before half time, wasn't it? 3-0 at half time. Yeah. So they came, but there was a big reaction, and now it probably you got to say, looking at that West Brom game, they were 1-0 up before they went down to 10 men. So maybe if you got to look at that and think if there was 11v11, that probably wouldn't have happened. So. Chelsea in great form. Well, they're in good form. I think they've won 3 of the last 5.
5-2, 5-1.
Yeah, but it was. In terms of in general, like ever since Tuchel took over, they've really had a big rise, and they're right. They're 5th now, but they're favourites probably for top 4. Although they do have a tough fixture list, they do have a lot of tough games coming, and they could falter a bit. And they got West Ham to play as well, but they just seem the team to beat at the moment.
Where do you think they can be next season? Do you think they can fight for the title next season?
Yeah.
Because I think that as well. And I was talking to a couple of people yesterday, and I was saying that in terms of quality, I think the Chelsea squad is better than the Man United squad.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was saying that don't see any reason why Chelsea don't go and challenge for that title next year.
A few key maybe additions in defence, I think, and maybe one in midfield, and I think they'll definitely be up there next year. I think with Werner and Havertz having another year to acclimatise. Havertz, by the way, had an absolutely brilliant game. He was brilliant, absolutely brilliant against Palace, and shutting up a lot of the critics that have been against him, saying he's poor and he'll never make it. He had a fantastic game. Werner, I don't think played, but apparently he has a worse goal scoring record than Soldado now.
Really?
Yeah,
that's mad.
Which Soldado had in his first season. But I think given a year to acclimatise to the Premier League, next year we'll see the best of them.
The same about Soldado.
We did. That didn't quite happen, but I think Werner's a different case. I really do.
I agree.
And look, they even got a shot at the Champions League this year.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Because the way they brushed aside Atletico so easily.
Yeah, but I still think when they come out, I don't think they beat Man City over 2 legs, and I don't think they'll beat PSG over 2 legs. And if PSG get beat tonight, I don't think they'll beat Bayern over 2 legs.
Yeah, but look, Atletico is having a great season, and they just beat them very simply.
Yeah, but Atletico have been faltering recently.
It's true. But they got a shot at it as long as you're there in the quarters semi-final stage. You never know. You can like we did. We kind of lucked our way to it, and you can just do that.
Yeah, you can. But I don't think Atletico are the team that they were all those years ago when they were such a tough nut to crack in the Champions League. I don't think they're that side anymore.
Maybe, but they are top of the La Liga.
They are top of the La Liga, but they won't finish top of the La Liga. I tell you that.
Yeah, not at this rate.
Let's move on. Burnley against Newcastle finished 2-1 to Newcastle at Turf Moor. I went 0-0. You went 1-1. Another 0-pointer for both of us. Did you see any of this one?
Yeah, I was a bit closer than you were. I wasn't. Did I see? But I saw the second half actually, when Newcastle turned it around. Fair play to them. Saint-Maximin being the difference here. Great cameo from him coming on, and within a few minutes he'd got a goal and an assist, I think. So.
Would you take him at Spurs at Maximin?
Yeah, I would. I think he's like a better version of Lucas Moura. I think he's better than Lucas Moura. I think he's more of a threat in his dribbling ability. He's got a tiny bit extra speed than Lucas. His end
product's found wanting though sometimes.
It is, but I think he's got a better end product than Lucas.
Maybe.
I think he's literally a tiny bit better version than Lucas, and I do think he's a special talent. Saint-Maximin. He's one of those players who he'll frustrate the F out of you. Like he'll really leave you wanting more, but he's got so much ability and skill. He's a lot better. I think he's better than Adama Traore. I think he's better than Lucas Moura. I really believe he's a special talent. The goal we scored against Burnley was a very good finish. Burnley will be disappointed from their point of view. No one could put a foot in, but he ran half the pitch and was able to slot it home with his left foot really confidently. And it was a really good goal. And look, that could. He could be the difference between Newcastle staying in the league and getting relegated at this rate. And it was a great win for them. And that's, they've only lost 1 out of the last 5.
How much do you reckon he's gettable for?
I think they signed him for 18, 20 million. So you're probably looking at 35. So if they go down, maybe less.
Let's move on. West Ham against Leicester. I mean, West Ham, they just keep marching on. 3-2 against Leicester at the Olympic Stadium. I went 2-2, you went 2-2. We were close, but not close enough. Obviously, West Ham taking a 3-0 lead, nearly letting it slip again.
Yeah, for the second time in a row.
Again, but they managed to get over the line. And you know what? West Ham, you've got to give them credit.
Yeah, the last 3 games they've had a 3-0 lead, and they've let it slip once and nearly let it slip the other 2 times. Yeah. But look, they keep plugging away, don't they?
Keep Jesse plugging Lingard, away. Man.
Oh my God!
What a goal he scored! His first one.
Unbelievable finish on the volley as well. Great technique, and he's been an absolute sensation since. You got to say that now.
And his second one as well, to be fair, running through their defence and just putting it in the back of the net.
No, it was a tap in his second one.
What was the one where he went past?
That was last week.
Oh, that was last week.
That was also a great goal. But Lingard has been absolutely sensational, and he's making it very, very difficult for Southgate to leave him out at this point in the England squad. But with Foden, Grealish, Mount, who do you leave out?
Well, at the moment with Grealish and his injury problems, it's hard to make a case for him.
Yeah, it was Jack Grealish. He's been one of the players of the season.
I know he has, but with his injury problems and with the resurgence of Jesse Lingard, I mean, it really is hard to make a case for Jack Grealish because you don't know if he's going to be fully fit for the Euros.
If he is fully fit, you got to take him, I think.
I don't know if Southgate will agree with you there.
I think you got to take Grealish, man. He's one of the. You can't just like.
Who would you leave out? I think Maddison doesn't go.
Yeah, Maddison can't be going at this point. It might be a choice between Grealish and Lingard at this point. But look, West Ham with their win, putting them now firmly in 4th place, a point above Chelsea. Do you reckon they'll make it?
I mean, as much as it pains me to say it, the way they're going at the moment, they are going to make it.
They'll hold, and looks like they're going to hold us off at the moment, but will they be able to hold off Chelsea?
Yeah, it's the big game next week against Chelsea, isn't it? So
they're playing Newcastle next week, and then Chelsea, I think, the week after.
Yeah.
So look, Newcastle though, it's not the easiest game at the moment. You got to say that Newcastle, you got to put some respect on their name in terms of they haven't been losing that many games and be putting in some decent performances. So it's not going to be the easiest game, but do you reckon they'll have enough to hold off Liverpool and Chelsea?
I don't know. It's they've got quite favourable fixtures, don't they, from
West
now
Ham.
to the end of the season?
More favourable than Chelsea.
Yeah.
Maybe not Liverpool, but Chelsea, yeah.
So I think.
Or even Leicester. Could Leicester drop out with that defeat?
Yeah, I think Leicester can drop out, to be fair. But the thing is with West Ham, they remind me a lot of us in like 2005, where they've got a really nice attacking side, vibrant side. I feel like maybe the last 3-4 weeks of the season they're going to stutter a bit. I feel like the pressure could get to them at some point. But
really see how it is at crunch time for them.
Yeah, I think really when push really comes to shove, I think they might lose a couple of games back into the season, but they might still do enough to make that top 4 because I think teams around them always will drop points as well.
It's a bit like us when we were in our second season under Poch, like when the pressure was off and it was just like us, I know we were chasing the top, we were like when there was no real pressure and we were just chasing a points total from Leicester, like we were just getting wins and wins. But when it actually came to it, like we had to win to really like get close, we always faltered at those moments.
Yeah,
and we'll see if West Ham will do that.
I kind of see similarities more to the Martin Yole team that kind of nearly finished 4th that year.
And then the lasagna gate.
Yeah, that year.
If West Ham get food poisoning last day of the season.
That would be sweet.
We can only hope.
All right, let's move on. The scores on the doors at the moment are 74-79 to myself. Spurs 1, Manchester United 3. You went 1-1. I went 1-0 to Man U. So we all know what happened there. I got a point on there. So it's 80-74.
Yeah,
it's not good enough, was it?
No, it wasn't good enough. It was another really damaging defeat, and it was one of those where we really needed to show what we're about this season. If we're serious about really grabbing that top 4 spot, we needed to get a result. And the way we folded again, and just to do it in the same circumstances as we've done so many games, was so disheartening. And it wasn't. It wasn't the performance of against Man United by himself that kind of got everyone thinking, okay, maybe Mourinho just isn't the right man. But it's just a culmination of things leading to that United game where, how many times can you see the same thing happening without fixing the issue? I mean, it's happened too many times now. And if it was the second or third, I'll be okay. But it's like the 8th or 9th time it's happened, and you couldn't be able to fix it. So that's like a real worry for us from our point of view.
And also, there's been all these stuff coming out on social media, on Twitter, about our kind of tactics and the way we're positioning. Like the way the defence looks positioned looks great, but the midfield just seems all over the place. Like they don't know where they are, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know where to be on the pitch.
Seems that way.
And that's you've got to look at the management for that. And as well, on top of that, I think that his man management skills have been left in the past. I don't think he's involved with the times in terms of the way young players are now. And unfortunately, I think that's the crux of the matter.
Yeah, and in terms of top 4, we're 7th. Luckily, we'll get into Everton, but they drew, so they're not above us. So we're 7th at the moment, although Everton do have a game in hand. 6 points behind West Ham, with obviously Liverpool and Chelsea as well above us. So we have to overcome them. I do think there are 2 spots open because I do think Leicester is starting to falter as well, and I think they might struggle to nail down that top 4 spot. There are 2 spots open, but there are 2 spots out of the 4 teams, us, Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham and Leicester, 5 teams, sorry. Like, we're, I think, in the
Everton,
worst form.
Right?
And I guess Everton are a point behind us. Everton as well. So 6 teams, 2 spots, and we're just the ones in the worst form out of all of them, pretty much. So
look, we are, but
actually, Everton are in worse form, but
our fixtures are favourable.
Our fixtures are favourable, but we need to take advantage of it, and it starts with beating Everton on Friday night. If we don't beat Everton, I think I think it's curtains.
We say that every week.
I know, but I think with 6 games to go, and we're still be lagging, but we could be 9 points behind if we lose, because we'll be playing first, and everyone will be playing after. Like if we do lose, like I think that might be it for real.
But look, let's say for argument's sake we beat Everton. I don't know how likely it is, but look, let's say for argument's sake we do beat Everton. We've got Sheffield United after that. We've got really games that we should be winning.
Leeds,
Southampton,
Villa.
Leeds. I mean, we should be winning those games.
Of course we should. But how many
we've
times
won these games this season as well?
We have
teams we've beaten this season.
Yeah, it's true, but. Yeah, but it's all about showing our consistency. It's all about if Mourinho can rally the squad to all be going the right direction. If we do win our next 2 games, going to the cup final, and then win the cup final, then you got to say our tails might be up, and then we could have a good end to the season. But if you're looking at it right now, it just all looks very, very unlikely. It's a pipe. It kind of looks like a pipe dream. What we're talking about.
It does. But things can change very quickly in football.
Things can change very quickly in football, and it's amazing what a win can do. For you. So I know we bad loss against Man United. We've got to say, who are really sealing that second place, and with aplomb as well, because unbeaten all season away from home is very impressive. You've got to say that. And it was they played great football. I've criticised them
in second half
a lot this season when I've seen them saying, look, they're grinding out wins and stuff. But some of the goals they scored, our defending was shite, but the second goal, brilliant team goal, and the first one as well, quick passing move, which with movement, and it was really, really good on the eye. So you got to say that's very impressive from Man United to get another win, and fair play to them.
All right, so it's 80-74 to me as we move on to Sheffield United against Arsenal. 3-0 to Arsenal. I went 2-1, you went 2-1.
Yeah.
So that makes it 81-75.
Yeah, we were both live when this was going on, so we didn't really see it.
A routine win, really. I mean, everyone beat Sheffield United at the moment.
You got. If Arsenal don't beat Sheffield United, they are in big trouble. Although they are
probably a sackable offence in itself.
Yeah. Well, they're just about keeping themselves in the top half. Arsenal at this rate. 9th, they're very tight between them, Leeds and Villa in a kind of mini league.
Big race there. Big race
for the top 10. They're
big
winning
race for 9th.
Very big race for 9th. But they seem to be winning it. It's a fair play to Arsenal.
All right.
Good play. Maybe overachieving, are they? Sure.
Arteta in. Okay, the last couple of games of the weekend from last night. West Brom against Southampton. 3-0 to West Brom. I mean, they are on flying form at the moment. I went 1-0 to West Brom. You went 1-0 to West Brom, so we both get a point there. 82-76. Did you watch the game?
I saw bits of it. And you got to say, West Brom, of recent, even though they've lost a few games, they have been playing quite well. And remember, they got that draw against against Man United not so long ago, and they played really well in that game. They obviously beat Chelsea last week, and the 3-0 win means that maybe they could be playing themselves in with a chance to actually stay up there.
Big Sam up to his old tricks again.
They are 8 points behind still, so there's a long way to go. But you could never look with 7 games to go. If they can go on a run, win 4 or 5 of those games, you never know. They can give themselves a fighting chance. And I do think they got some good players. I like Diagne. I think he's been really good since he's come in. I think
Diagne or Carlos.
I think Diagne has shown more, probably. Honestly, I do. As much as I think Carlos has done a decent job, I think Diagne has done well. I think Maitland-Niles has done a good loan spell. Pereira seems to be coming into his best as well. Yeah. After a solid start to the season, he kind of faded a lot, and now he's really starting to make an impact week on week. So, and what's his name?
Callum Robinson.
Callum Robinson got his first goal against non-Chelsea side. Unbelievable record that is. He scored it, only ever scores against Chelsea, but fair play to him. He got a goal wrapping up the win, and but did you see the offside?
No,
it was real big controversy because what happened was they ruled out for offside. The line had his flag up, and then VAR was checking it, and they ruled the line on the wrong player.
Yeah, I actually heard about that. I think Graham Roberts or someone tweeted saying, "Have they not drawn the line on the wrong player?"
They did, because the player that the line was supposed to be drawn, Diagne, was actually onside, but they drew it on Ajayi, and then they judged Ajayi to be offside, which he was, but
he didn't touch the ball.
Yeah, Diagne was the one who put it in. It wasn't nothing to do with Ajayi. So Diagne was the actual one who put it in. He scored. And if you look at the replay, it was hard to see because Ajayi was in the way. But I think Diagne did look onside. He looked onside.
So incompetent, man.
So,
how can you draw a line on the wrong player?
Yeah, it looked like it was the wrong player.
It's ridiculous.
And West Brom.
How can you make such a glaring, obvious error?
Yeah,
that's clear and obvious.
Yeah, it should have been. He was onside, and they made a big gaff, I think, in that one. But look, West Brom giving themselves a fighting chance. They look dead and buried, but a few wins, and they've given themselves an opportunity. Still looking unlikely, but can't rule Big Sam out, can you?
Yeah. Last game of the weekend, Brighton against Everton, finished 0-0. I went 2-0, you went 2-1 to Everton.
No, to Brighton.
To Brighton, sorry. So that's finished this week. The scores on the doors at the end of this week are 83-76. So I opened the gap a bit more for you to keep fighting, keep battling your way from now until the end of the season. But what did you make out of the game last night?
Yeah, I think Brighton were unlucky. They should have won. They had more chances. So I feel like saying the same thing every week with Brighton, but
yeah, since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, literally. I think they were unlucky. If the difference is they did keep a clean sheet, probably down to Calvert-Lewin not playing. He was injured.
Yeah.
So that will definitely hit Everton, and Everton do seem to be faltering a bit now. In that when the going gets tough, it looks like it's 4 games without a win now for Everton. So they seem to be really struggling to keep pace with the Champions League teams, a bit like us, but. Yeah, I think Brighton will be a bit aggrieved they didn't get the win because they had a lot of chances in and around the penalty area and they just couldn't force the ball into the back of the net. And Everton will feel like they got away with one. But in terms of the race for top 4, it's bad news for Everton. But it's just interesting. I see the narrative with obviously the expectations are higher for us than Everton, but like in terms of. When you look at when accusations are being passed on style of play and stuff, like none of that gets aimed towards Ancelotti. When I see them playing bad football a lot, and he's a manager who's been managing longer than Mourinho, and he's the one as well who's had his fair share of teams where he's gone to and it's completely gone wrong very quickly. You think Bayern Munich, he was there for a season and he left. Napoli, he was there for not long and he left, like recently. And these things.
I thought he did a good job at Napoli.
Yeah, but he wasn't there for that long. I don't think.
He did a good job though.
He did okay. Yeah, but you could say the same Mourinho for all these jobs. He's did a good job. So but it's just interesting the narrative. Like, I think
it's never like turned poisonous in that this like kind of the way it always ends with Jose Mourinho. It always ends in a really toxic way and a really poisonous way.
I get that.
And he's always got like divisions in the camp. He's always got stuff going on with certain players in all of his jobs.
Yeah, but when he left, when Ancelotti left Bayern Munich, like, do you not think there was an unhappy camp? Why do you think he left? You know what I mean?
It's not about there being an unhappy camp. There's one thing being an unhappy camp, and there's another thing where you can see it's going like visibly poisoned, fights breaking out in the media.
I just think, I just think that's what that happens most of the time when managers get sacked.
No, not like it does with Jose.
I think it just gets hyped up with Jose. I really do, because I think a lot of when managers get sacked, it's because of the dressing room are not happy with him. A lot of the time, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, that's the situation. And a lot of the time, that managers will be calling players out and stuff because the team is not doing well and they need to try something. Yeah, but when it comes to Mourinho, it's like, oh, he's toxic and stuff. But other managers, the same narrative isn't spun. That's what I feel.
No, I disagree. I think that the way Jose Mourinho finishes jobs and the way he gets hounded out of clubs sometimes is completely different to other managers.
I guarantee you, if you look at news articles right now about Ancelotti's end times at Bayern or his last few weeks at Napoli, they'll probably be the same. Probably be the same. I'm telling you right now. Well, you can disagree, but I'm telling you that like Ancelotti was getting into fights with his players and stuff like that at the end of his tenure. Like, it happens when things are not going well.
Who was he getting in fights with?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm telling you. This is what happens. I'm telling you.
I mean, obviously, managers get sacked for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every manager is going to get sacked for a reason. But the way it always seems to end the same way with Jose Mourinho. It's always the same thing where you can't really say the same for other managers. Like Carlo Ancelotti, you're naming one instance with me.
What?
In terms of it got poisonous, or he's gotten fights with players at the end.
I'm saying his last few jobs, it's not ended well for him. It's not ended well for him, and he's been out the door fairly quickly. He hasn't lasted that long in his last couple jobs. Napoli, he was there for 1 season. Bayern, 1 season. Real Madrid, he was there for less time. Where did he go after Napoli? Everton.
Did he leave straight from Napoli to go to Everton?
Yeah. And then Real Madrid, what's this called? Mourinho was at Real Madrid longer than Ancelotti was. Although Ancelotti won the Champions League.
No one's denying that Jose Mourinho is a better manager than Ancelotti, though.
I just find it interesting how the narratives are different between Mourinho. Like, everyone looks at Ancelotti this season. Well, what a great job he's doing! Look how he's got this Everton team playing. He's really imprinted their style. He's going to give Everton that nous. What is he doing? Like, I know we've got a better squad than Everton, and we should be doing much better than they're doing. But I just find it interesting.
Yeah, but
the narrative.
For him to put Everton in the same conversation with Tottenham, they shouldn't be in the same conversation with the last 5 or 6 or 7 years of gone. Why should Everton be in the same conversation as Tottenham? So Jose Mourinho is underachieving and Carlo Ancelotti is overachieving.
He's been being an 8th. They're overachieving.
Well, from what? Yeah, I think they.
No, they're not.
Kind of
they're
season,
not. Come on, they're
why
not. Why are they overachieving being 8th?
They're competing with Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea.
Yes, and they're 8th.
It doesn't matter.
So why they're overachieving if they're on par? You'd have at most they're on par.
I would say that they're doing well to compete with the teams that they're competing with.
I don't see it.
In this day and age, in this season where everyone is like a really crazy season, for them to be fighting with us, Liverpool, Chelsea for that top 4
That's
spot,
what they expected at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but that would be a massive overachievement for them to
get. Yeah, but right now they're 8th. They're not overachieving.
I think they are in terms of who they're challenging with.
But they're 8th.
I know they're 8th, but
so
in terms of who they're challenging with,
they're just as close to Arsenal in 9th as they are to Liverpool in 6th.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as an over. I think if you told an Everton fan right at the beginning of the season when they had their, especially when they had at the start of the season when they had those 4 wins on the trot or whatever it was, that they'll be 8th going into the last few games of the season.
I'm not saying they're overachieving in what space they're in the league. I'm saying they're overachieving in terms of who they're competing with. They shouldn't be competing with us.
I disagree.
They shouldn't be competing with Liverpool. They shouldn't be competing with Chelsea.
Look, they're not a squad of nobodies. They've got some good players. So I don't.
These clubs, Tottenham, Liverpool, and Chelsea, in the last 5 years have not been competing with Everton at all.
Correct.
So why should they be this?
Yeah, but
season?
is it more because they have gone up or more because we've gone down?
Probably because we've gone down.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't see Everton as. I'm not saying they're doing horribly. I'm just saying I don't see them as overachieving or anything. And I also think the style of play and stuff, like, people don't say, oh, Everton, they just play rubbish football, so might as well bin Ancelotti. Like, that doesn't even come into it when people talk about Everton.
At the end of the day, we shouldn't be compared to Everton, and Jose Mourinho shouldn't be compared to Carlo Ancelotti, because I think Jose Mourinho's CV says it all against Carlo's. And I think the last 5 to 7 years in the Premier League says it all in terms of us against Everton. So us meeting somewhere is our failure and their success.
Us meeting somewhere is our failure and their success. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I just think the narrative's interesting. Because I think it's a bit different.
The thing is, I don't even think anyone's even spouting much about Carlo. I think
whenever I turn on the radio, they're always praising him all the time.
I mean, I haven't heard much praise for Carlo for like 3-4 months. For like
I was listening.
A few months.
Look, I was just listening on the radio last night, a bit on the game, and they were just praising him. Oh, he's given Everton this tactical edge and how good he's doing and all this stuff. I'm like,
they can't win a game at Goodison Park, so they can't.
I know. That's what I was saying. I was like, has he really been doing that great? And I think he's doing a decent job. It's just, I think it's interesting the narrative surrounding Ancelotti and Mourinho and how, I just feel like it's very different.
Expectations at the club are very different as well.
I know, but in terms of their managerial career and like how things go and stuff, where Ancelotti's had similar experiences, in my opinion, in terms of not lasting very long at our previous clubs, similar to Mourinho, but he doesn't have that reputation of things go bad quickly, whereas Mourinho does.
I don't know. I just don't think people read too much into Carlo's career like that, like they do with Jose.
That's what I'm saying. It's just interesting.
Because Jose's a better manager.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
All right.
All right. So at the end of this week, it is 83-76 to me. That is your week's Spur-Spective. Check out for the Premier League predicts back on Friday. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.